So the last Machinima essay I looked into Apple's red tiers and the complexities of those two short films, and the techniques that Apple used to create a well-driven story. Apple's red tiers was the right level of complexity, but do Machinimas need complexity to be good? Sure, Apple's was one of the higher tier Machinimas of last year due to how it was crafted, but is it possible to craft a Machinima that isn't really complex in any right and still be good? I think the simple and short answer is yes. But since you clicked on this video, you either want me to explain why, or give you the long-winded answer. So today we're going to be looking at Ray's Spider-Man series here on Slightly Insulting, and the simplicity of the series, and why a series like this benefits from it heavily. But before we get into that, if you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and make sure to hit that like button if you do enjoy this type of content. And without further ado, let's get into this. The simplicity of Ray's Spider-Man. Now, what do you think when someone says something is simple? It's boring, mediocre, it lacks style, flavor. Well, there's a type of simplicity in film and storytelling that makes something special, whether it be the characters, the story, the goals. They can all be simple, but still pulled off in an entertaining way. Not everything has to be a massive, on-the-cusp, edgy, really hard to figure out crime thriller, because a movie that does this comes across as trying too hard, and they can focus particularly on one thing, and it drives the attention away from other key elements of the film. This is why I praise red tiers so heavily, is because it manages to do this without allowing itself to be caught up on its own complexity. However, red tiers is an exception, because we're not talking about real films here, we are talking about Minecraft-based films, movies about characters with blocks for heads, and in a world where everything is square. It's okay to take the story seriously like it's a real film, but you have to look at what audience you're accommodating to here. Minecraft's target audience is generally younger than an audience to a mass murder horror story. Now, I'm not saying that it's wrong or bad to experiment. It's good we have diversity in this community with the different types of films people do, but what my main point here is that Minecraft itself is simple. Like I said, it's blocky. You use materials to craft different items in simple ways, whereas in real life you can never go up to a tree and punch it, collect wood and then build a house in the same day. Minecraft simplifies things, so the simple style of Machinima really works well here, and when it comes to Ray's Spider-Man, it feels youthful, fresh, new, like there's not much to think about but a simple story about a boy and his mentor. This also works for the type of series that this is. It's Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is a simple character. Yes, he has dark underlying tones and complex story arcs in the comics and across the movies, but the premise of the character at base level is simple. He's an average high school kid who has spider powers and uses them to help people because he feels responsible for the death of his uncle. You can take this concept and drive a simple narrative with it, which is exactly what Ray's Spider-Man does. It takes the concept of that boy and introduces a new mentor, Dolt, who turns out to be the Beetle. Peter looks up to Dolt after the death of Uncle Ben, because Dolt acts as that father figure that he just lost. Dolt is the savior for Peter. He gave him his first job right outside the place where Uncle Ben died. It's almost like Dolt was there for a reason, to pick Peter back up and tell him that everything was going to be okay. And then when everything looked like it was going smoothly, Dolt turned out to be his greatest enemy, the Beetle, thrusting Peter into a hard space, a character that you could now imagine is emotionally bruised, crushed, who just wants to be happy, but he can't. Peter looks at Dolt as someone that helped him through the roughest of times, and the roughest parts of his life, and he'll never forget that. Even when Dolt is the Beetle, and is threatening to kill Norman Osborn and other people, and attack Oscorp, Peter still sympathizes with him. Thus, Peter learned his second lesson, trust, or at least, he has been thrust into the direction to learn more about trust. What's also even more heartbreaking is that Dolt is someone that Peter would have become if he'd taken that revenge route on the person that killed Uncle Ben. Dolt seeks revenge on Norman Osborn on what he did to his family, meaning that Peter and Dolt share similar ideologies as they both relate to something that they've lost. But Peter decides to become Spider-Man, whereas Dolt decides to become the Beetle. And then their paths cross, and it ends with Dolt going to prison. The man that Peter so dearly looked up to is in prison. Seems quite deep, right? And all of that derives from the simplest of storytelling, proving you don't need a complex base plot or complex characters from the off to end with something quite impactful, even when your film is made out of squares. And that's why the simplicity of Ray's Spider-Man makes it some of the most creative Machinima storytelling out there. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video. Also, if you haven't seen the Spider-Man series yet or any of the MMU stuff on the channel, I highly recommend you go and check it out. We have worked very hard over the last couple of months, and I even more highly recommend just the Spider-Man stuff. It's crazy how creative and good some of that stuff is getting now, and Ray's doing a great job. Now, in the next Machinima essay, I'm going to be moving over to something that's not slightly insulting related, and that might include a little someone known as Elite Productions. And with that being said, make sure to support us on the Patreon down below. If you want to support this channel and the content that we do as creators, make sure to go down in the description and click the link to the Patreon. It's only $1 a month, so you can just support us. As $1 just helps us out so much and provides better content for you guys. Also, make sure to buy the merch. There's a really cool Insulted hoodie on there, and I've got it. I bring up the Insulted hoodie every time I bring up the merch, is because I've got it, right? And I'm not going to lie, it's the best piece of merch on there, and it's really comfy. Winter's coming up, so if you need a new hoodie, the Insulted hoodie is definitely the way to go. It's stylish, it looks cool, you get it in white and black, and it's great. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.